Joshua and the people of Israel entered the Promised Land in this seemingly inhospitable terrain. They crossed the Jordan River on dry ground after wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. In this environ, Elijah also crossed the Jordan River on dry ground and was snatched up to heaven. He retraced the opposite order of the sacred geographic triangle to how Joshua entered the land, via Bethel, Gilgal, and Jericho. John the Baptist baptized Jesus in the Jordan River in this locality as well. This ground is sacred since the biblical text mentions several times that the soles of their feet should tread and conquer the Promised Land beginning at Jericho. The prince of the army of the Lord appeared here to Joshua with a drawn sword and said, "Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy." Ironically, archaeologists have discovered 5 strange stone enclosures in the Jordan Valley and hills of Shechem in the shape of a sandal, and it is possible that these are the Gilgal structures mentioned in the Bible. Gilgal is not a proper name of a city, but rather a description of a series of enclosures of low stone walls. While the Gilgal site near Jericho has not yet been found, the others have been identified by Professor Adam Zertal. They are usually located on the lower slopes of a hill, forming a natural seating environment out of the rock formations. These Gilgalim are difficult to access since one must drive off-road and fences often block the way. The only Gilgal by road is near Moshav Argaman. It's rough, lonely, and feels borderline dangerous. There is the smell of dung and livestock since shepherds graze their sheep there even today. We had to extract thorns and thistles out of our shoes, constantly harassed by flies and bitten by insects. The root Gilgal, plural Gilgalim, is a play on words to roll away. The stone circle served as a community ritual meeting place for the early Israelite corporate assembly and not as a permanent dwelling. The Hebrew Bible mentions Gilgal enclosures near Jericho, another near Bethel, and yet another near Shechem. They are a set of footprints leading up to Mount Ebal, where God commanded Joshua to deliver the blessings and cursings for Israel. In fact, there is an Iron Age altar on Mount Ebal, which is also enclosed with a low and what might be considered yet another footprint-shaped wall. It should be noted that the pottery at all the Gilgalim date to the early Israelite period in the 12th to 11th centuries BCE, with finds of kosher animal bones from burnt sacrifice. It's quite likely that the tabernacle was transported to and rested within these Gilgal structures as the Israelites made their way back and forth between Bethel and Shechem. The footprint-shaped outline recalls ancient Egyptian thinking, where a footstool symbolized ownership and subjugation. Having left slavery in Egypt, it's not surprising that this imagery was stamped into the psyche of the Jewish people as an object lesson of God's ownership of the Promised Land. After vanquishing the 5 kings attacking Gibeon, Joshua called the captains of the host to ceremonially place their feet on their necks to make God's enemies his footstool. This posturing reminds of the 3-foot-long footprints at the Ein Dara temple in Syria, probably symbolizing the deity entering the temple. Monson concluded that the Ein Dara temple formed a bridge sequence between the late Bronze Age and Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. Is it possible that the Gilgal footprints symbolized Yahweh striding into his land? In spite of the thorns, flies, heat, and rough terrain, this area was important during the Israelite conquest of Canaan. These stone Gilgal enclosures indelibly mark stone footprints on the Promised Land.